Warm, muggy, and humid here in downtown Houston, Texas. The roof is closed inside Minute Maid Park. We've got the first of a very brief two-game series. James Paxton and the Mariners, Jose Altuve and the Astros. The Mariners coming to town in first place inside the American League West as Dallas Keuchel, one of the best in the business, especially from the left side, toes the slab here in Game 1 for AT HOU and the Astros as we take a look at the Mariners starting lineup presented by Jack in the Box.
And for the Mariners, moved up to third in the American League in hitting. Starts with D. Gordon. He leads the American League with 19 stolen bases. Gene Segura, third in the American League with a .331 batting average. And Ben Gamel will get the start. He has a 7-game hitting streak. He hits 8th in the lineup this evening. For Dallas Keuchel, as Aaron mentioned, one of the best left-handers in the game. Mariners faced him earlier this year. He pitched well against the Mariners. 8 innings, just 2 earned runs. Overall this year, 3-7 record, but a .365 ERA, 60 strikeouts in 74 innings. Opponents hitting .246 against Keuchel.
Keuchel, the former Cy Young Award winner, comes home with the first pitch, and it misses for ball 1. Last start for Keuchel, 5 innings on a recent road trip for these Astros. That was in the Bronx against the Yankees. Up the middle, Altuve scampering, jump throw, airmailed, and D easily has first.
In within the dugout. Looks like he'll get second base. That should be an infield hit and an error. An unusual error for Houston. They are first in the American League in fielding. Jake Marisnick will cover center field. Carlos Correa, the young shortstop for the Astros, has not made an error yet this year. Max Stassi will do the catching.
Now, Mike, it is exactly that, an infield base hit and an E4.
Altuve ranging because of the speed of D. Gordon. He gets rid of it quickly. Probably didn't have a good grip on the ball. It goes over the first baseman's head. D was already past the bag.
First pitch missing up to Segura, ball 1. Now, Gene entering this series, there's only one man in the league with more hits than Segura. That is the man at second base for the Astros, Jose Altuve.
Gene with 37 RBIs, again hitting at the top of the lineup. For Keuchel, his average fastball this year, 89 miles an hour, a cutter, which was that last pitch in on his hands. He'll mix in a curveball and a changeup. Again, a very good ground ball pitcher. Bregman, the third baseman, playing even with the bag. Big hole on the left side of the infield.
Well, you're right about that. 5th best ground ball rate in the majors. Nearly 55%.
That will be one of the keys for the Mariners offensively. Another cut fastball. And for Keuchel, he's going to try to pitch in off the plate. Mariners are going to have to show some patience and take that pitch.
Slicing into center, and it drops in for a base hit. Gordon will get the stop sign at third. Jake Marisnick getting the start at center, and right away the Mariners have something cooking against Keuchel. Runners on the corners.
In the last 10 games for Segura, hitting .410, so he stays hot. He's done an excellent job this year of hitting with runners in scoring position. Solid base hit back up the middle. Talked about it so many times, Aaron. With the good pitchers, you want to get them early, first, second inning. If you get them into some trouble, to cash it in, and that's what the Mariners need to do right here.
Now, Keuchel's numbers certainly reflect that. In the first inning this year, he's coughed up 9 earned runs in 12 innings, including 3 homers. Now, the Mariners' RBI leader, Mitch Haniger, climbs in here with runners at first and third. Haniger entering today tied for third in the league with 42 runs batted in.
Houston looking for the double play. We'll give up a run for a double play. Right side of the infield is wide open. Altuve playing up the middle. Gurriel holding the runner on.
Well, we've seen Mitch take advantage of a wide open right side before this year to drive in a run. The 0-1. Soft chopper, Correa. Low scoop, gets rid of it quickly to first base, not in time, and a run scores. Gordon is in, Now the Mariners, 3 batters into this ball game, have a 1-0 lead over the Astros.
And Mitch will pick up another RBI now, 43 on the year for Mitch. Couple of tough pitches. The first one right on the outside corner. That looked like a changeup down and away, but it was a strike off the end of the bat. Good hustle from Mitch to beat it out.
One out, one on, a run in already. Here's Nelson Cruz. Very strong numbers in his career against Keuchel. Keep an eye on Haniger. Nelly, a lifetime .333 hitter against Keuchel with 4 homers. And you know what, Mike, even though we come here so many times each year, and we have been for some time, every time we come back to this ballpark, the Crawford boxes, they always seem closer than I remember. And I'd have to think that's especially true for Nelson Cruz.
Well, I would think so.
Keuchel, few gold gloves, bobbles this one, bobbles again.
And that will be an error. So another break for the Mariners. A couple of errors. It's going to be a base hit. Wow. Take it. Chopped right off the plate. Keuchel rushing over. It looks like he's going to make the catch right here. It's right in the middle of his glove. He drops it. Nelson was running hard out of the box. No play for him. A great situation for the Mariners.
Just another in the long list of infield base hits for Nelson Cruz.
I was happy to see him running as well as he was, though, because we know that his legs were hurting him for a while and his foot, but he looked like he was healthy running down the line.
First and second, one out for Kyle Seager. We'll take a look at our Lowe's whole team together. Road RBIs among Mariners. Seager with the most, 4th in the American League. Chance to add to that total.
Haniger already has, picking up an RBI here in the first.
The opposite way towards the boxes. Crawford boxes, something's coming in, and it's just over the line for a home run. Opposite way, 3-run blast. Kyle Seager, number 10 on the season. And the Mariners have already opened this game up. It is 4-0 Mariners.
Something that we've talked about over the course of the first few months is Kyle with his hand position and that little bit of a hitch, wanting to drive the ball the other way, and we've seen that this year. And this is perfect right in the first row of the Crawford boxes. 3-run homer for Kyle.
So even for left-handed hitters, Mike, those Crawford boxes are close.
I think it's a big advantage for a left-handed hitter. When you don't feel that you have to pull the ball, I think it makes you a better hitter. From the right side, I think you can get into trouble trying to pull the ball too much because it's so close. It's only 315 down the line. But I think for lefties, it will help you.
Here's Healy. Is it a similar comp, what we see at Yankee Stadium for a right-handed hitter? Or is this even more enticing for a lefty?
No, I think it's similar. I think it's very similar to that.
Very short porch in right field at Yankee Stadium, of course. Soft loop, right field, Springer and Marisnik. It is George Springer in right to put it away. 2 outs. How about this start for the Mariners this year? Most wins in the first 60 games of a season in franchise history. Only 2 years better. 01, of course, and then 2003. Two outs, the base is clean for Heredia. you think about this first inning, consider too, we've mentioned the complete game that Keuchel spun against the Mariners in April at Safeco Field. An 8-inning complete game. He gave up 2 runs that entire day. He has given up 4 runs today without completing the first inning.
Really pitched well in that outing, and in fact he gave up a home run in that game. Talk about him giving up just the 2 runs. And Kyle was able to get a fastball that was up, which is a big key off of Keuchel. It was probably belt high on the outside corner and hit it out of the ballpark.
Now Guillermo ahead of the count, 3-1. Say this too, Mike, as I look through the first 6 hitters of this first inning, the Mariners are very aggressive against Keuchel. They're not taking many pitches.
No, they're not. That's typical for the first 2 hitters in the lineup. B. Gordon, Gene Segar are aggressive by nature. But I think for the other guys, again, look for something that's up in the zone if you can. And they've been fooled by the changeup a couple of times on some ground balls, and another fine play by Correa.
He's been brilliant this year, especially defensively. That ends the top of the first, but the Mariners strike some serious damage. They get a 4 spot on Keuchel. Kyle Seager, an opposite field 3-run blast, number 10 on the season for the Mariners third baseman. Some very early run support for James Paxton, who will face one of the most productive lineups in the majors so far.
And it starts with George Springer, a dangerous hitter this year. He has 4 leadoff home runs against Paxton in his career, 304 with 3 home runs. So we'll have to be careful with him. Evan Gattis hitting 6th in the lineup. He has been the hot hitter for Houston as of late. Jake Marisnick will round out the 9.
Well, Paxton coming off one of the best months of May in franchise history, the numbers in total this year. Start Springer out with strike 1.
For James, fastball, slider, curveball. His average fastball this year is 96 miles an hour.
For the Astros, the narrative here around Houston is that the lineup has not produced like it did last year, which is true. Not as deep as it was last year, which is also true. Of course, the team that won the World Series, as they appealed on this check swing and say it does not go. And yet, Mike, if you take a look at just the raw numbers, and simply put, there are only 2 teams in baseball that have scored more runs than the Astros, and that is the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Yeah, they're interesting to look at. Good fastball on the inside corner. They're interesting to look at because they're 7th in hitting. They're 7th in home runs. They're pretty much in the middle of the pack everywhere you look, except for on base percentage and slugging. They're 4th and 5th there. But as you mentioned, 3rd in runs scored. So they're tough to figure out.
Strike 3 called. 97 at the kneecaps, and Springer caught looking for round number 1.
And that's a great sign. Watching James over the past few years, we talked about his mechanics, and when he's comfortable, we'll see the good fastball early in the game, and we just saw it. 97 challenge, and that's right down the middle at 97 miles an hour.
One up, one down. Here is third baseman Alex Bregman. Staring at a strike. We talked about the lineup last year for Houston, which makes what James Paxton did a season ago against these Astros even more impressive. He's getting out of play, foul. Haniger over for a peak, but 0-2. 4 starts last year for Paxton against these Astros. He allowed a total of 4 runs. A 1.69 ERA, nearly as many strikeouts as innings pitched. That was just over 21. And one of the most dynamic lineups in the game a season ago, barely hit 200 against Pastime. This time in play out to Haniger. Routine out number 2. One thing that is striking, the run differential this year for the Houston Astros. Look at since 1920, best run differential per game. The Astros at an even +2. I have a feeling, Mike, that those Yankees teams that we're seeing there were, I have a feeling there were a couple of Hall of Famers on them.
I think so. That's a pretty good group.
2 quick outs for Jose Altuve. Aggressive as always, strike 1.
Again for Paxton, good fastball, top of the strike zone, 97. That's a pitch he's used quite a bit this year, the high fastball. You mentioned Paxton and the Astros. A couple of things to consider. I think early on for him when he did well against him was because with Houston you could expand the zone and strike out a lot. That's not the case anymore. They'll work counts and try to put the ball in play if they can. That's a pretty good pitch at the bottom of the zone. Didn't get the call.
The 1-1. Off the plate, 2 balls and a strike to Altuve. I don't know if there's another lefty in the game, maybe Chris Sale last year, who could have gone through that lineup like he did 4 times. So such a right-handed heavy lineup.
I think you're probably right about that, and I think the main reason is both of them, obviously, you look at their stuff, it's plus some of the best you're going to see, but both of them willing to pitch inside. And I think when you have a right-handed lineup against lefties, they typically look out over the plate, but James will pitch inside enough.
Blind out to left. Gamble in front of the track, puts it away, and it's 3 up, 3 down for James Paxton. And inning into this one, the Mariners lead it 4-0. Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by Safeco Insurance. Find a local agent at safeco.com. Do more. And by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 191, investing in our future. Plenty of Mariners fans making the trip here to Houston. Tonight, game 1 of a very quick 2-game series. Mariners an early 4-0 lead. A 4th spot in the first, thanks in large part to Seager's 3-run blast. It's been Gamble to lead things off in the Mariners' second. Ben, of course, coming off a very strong month of May, hit over 340 and on base of 421. Scott Service making an interesting comment today during his media session that seems like, at least for right now, moving forward, it will be kind of more of a 50-50 timeshare in left field between Denard Span and Ben Gamble, as opposed to Span getting the bulk of time. And maybe this is part of a reason why. Gamble now an 8-game hitting streak. And a guy we saw last year, Mike, hit lefties pretty well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest reason why is he will use the entire field. Fastball running in on his hands, but able to fight it off, probably above the belt. Solid base hit back up the middle, head right on it. Nice short, quick swing. Well, he's earned the right to get some playing time, and I was happy to hear that today, because I think it makes it a little bit easier, especially for a younger player, to manage it. Not wondering all the time when they're going to play, if they're going to play. There'll also be games where Span and Gamble will both be playing, and Heredia will get the day off, probably against a tough right-hander if they can get a couple of left-handed bats in there.
Shift on for Zunino. Zunino, a high lift out towards the Crawford box. Is fair or foul?
Wow.
Is the question. It is fair, and it is gone for a home run. Number 9 for Mike Zunino, and the Mariners are taking batting practice against Keuchel over the first 2 innings. That's the second blast off the former Cy Young Award winner at 6-0.
For Kyle Seager, we weren't sure if it was going to be high enough to climb over the wall. It was for the 3-run homer. Not much doubt about this, just a question whether it was going to stay fair. That looks like a changeup. Cutter inside, missed, came back with a changeup, ends up middle end. And he hits it off the railroad tracks.
Off the windows.
Off the windows.
Let's not make this cheaper than it needs to be. That was destroyed. I mean, that is Cruz territory. Now the windows keep it from being a longer home run than it deserves to be, Mike. 429.
429, yeah. I think he's cheated on that one.
My goodness. 1-1 to D. Gordon. Well, only once prior to today had Keuchel given up more than 4 runs in a single start. Well, the Mariners have already tagged him for 6. Gurriel, the diving stop. Keuchel able to win the foot race, get to first in time. 1 down. Well, join the Mariners at Safeco Field on Friday, June 15th. They face the Red Sox at 7:10. Then stick around after the game and enjoy the first fireworks show of the summer, presented by Movin' 92.5 and T-Mobile. Great seats remain at Mariners.com.
I just had a thought, Aaron. It's a shame that it was pushing 100 degrees here today.
I know where you're going with this.
Yes, because they had to close the roof, because I would have loved to have seen that ball hit the brick building across the street.
I think it probably would have looked like he was still climbing.
We've seen some impressive home runs in this building. It was Nelson Cruz that hit the train, wasn't it?
It was Nelly who hit the train a couple of years ago. You know, the funny thing about that Zunino home run is that after we took our eyes down to the third base umpire to see if it was fair or foul, I then took my eyes back up to kind of that signage out there in left field, and I saw the ball kind of bouncing around in the Crawford boxes in the seats, and I thought, man, it looked like it went a lot higher than that. Oh, that's because it hit the windows and came back down. That was the ball falling.
You see 422 feet. They hit the bricks up there, so they might have put that window out. Impressive.
Chopped off the plate, foul. The Mariners 4 runs in the first, already 2 here in the second.
Segura with a base hit, his first time. Solid line drive into center field. Just saw the numbers, lefty righty. It doesn't matter to Gene. Getting well over 300.
The 2-2. Count stays put. Next pitch will be number 8 to Segura. And keep in mind too, when you look at this score, 6-0 against Keuchel before the second inning is even done. As he's able to get Segura swinging and missing for round number 2. That's his first punch out today. 8-pitch battle by Gene. Keep in mind the success that Keuchel has had, and it's not just against the Mariners. After all, this guy won the Cy Young Award. 15 previous starts against the Mariners, a 2.67 earned run average. And a lifetime over that body of work, the Mariners 2.09 their average collectively against Keuchel in his career.
He's had one other game this year where he's given up 6 earned runs, and that was against the Oakland A's, and it took them 7 innings to do it. So
a start unlike what A.J. Hinch has seen from.
Right.
I was about to say one of his best starting pitchers. They have, I mean, draw straws on that. 1-1.
Keuchel already over 40 pitches.
Up and in. It was Haniger that got the scoring started. 3 batters into the ball game, an RBI fielder's choice. They shift for him once again. Soft chopper to Carlos Correa. Well, the Mariners get 2 more runs. Mike Zunino off the windows. It's 6-0 Mariners. Thank you, Angie. Safe to say some early run support for James Paxton. Faced the minimum in the first, faces Correa to begin the second.
In the first inning, 13 pitches, 8 strikes for him. And he showed a dominant fastball, hit 97 a number of times.
Correa has been tough on Paxton over the course of his young career. 7 for 18. Coming off a really brutal month of May, Correa hit just 192. Time call. It's a conversation we were having the other day, Mike, how difficult it will be to get into the All-Star game in the American League if you are a shortstop. There are a ton of great ones.
There really are. Go across the boards, and really, as Correa, as well as he has played, and as good as he is, I would say that Segura is having a better year. And they're both in this ball game, and you keep walking around the American League, and there are a lot of quality shortstops having very good offensive seasons.
Just foul. Francisco Lindor just taken home American League Player of the Month.
Machado, what he's been doing in Baltimore.
Andrelton Simmons is no longer just a defensive shortstop. He's very productive in recent years with the bat as well. The 3-2. Base hit, Carlos Correa. Leadoff single for the Astros. Well, fans, join us next Monday as we welcome the Angels to town for a 3-game divisional showdown. Watch as Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, and the Angels collide with Nelson Cruz, James Paxton, and the Mariners. Check out Mariners.com. Pick up your tickets. Angels and the Red Sox coming to town when we return. 4 games in St. Pete once the series concludes tomorrow night. Back to the Correa base hit.
Pretty simple swing, able to get the count in his favor. Saw a number of fastballs. Primera Supermo. Not much head movement at all. Right there in the hitting area. Solid line drive off the barrel.
Early visit for Zunino.
I would say, Aaron, that as far as the ballparks go, this is probably one of the more unique outfields that you're going to see. And there's some pretty cool elements to it, but there are also some issues for the outfielders. Ben Gamel out and left. You have the corner out there, and it goes straight back to those screen doors. Another base hit for Gurriel going the other way on another fastball. And for Heredia in center field, although a fine outfielder, he has a little bit of experience. He played 3 games in center field last year, but there's a bunch of different angles and things for him. But one going to his right, which is the same thing where you look at those doors that are out there, the screens, and then the bullpen that kind of runs across, and there's some angles there for him to deal with. And the ball will ricochet off the padding and that fencing differently, so he'll have to be aware of all those things as we play the next couple of days here. Again, he played here last year in September, had 3 ball games, so he has some experience, but it's tough to get used to, I think, in a short series. Some mistakes can be made because of the way this ballpark is made.
There are about 4 or 5 height changes on the fence along the way, corner to corner as well. You're right, very unique outfield. First 2 men have reached, Correa and Gurriel both with base hits. Now here is Evan Gattis, DHing today for the Astros.
Low average for Gattis. 8 home runs on the year, but he has been hot lately. Something the Mariners went over in their scouting report. For most starting pitchers, that's usually the second or third question they ask, because everybody can see the numbers overall. They know who the hitting stars are, but they want to know who's been hot lately. It makes a big difference for the starters, because as opposed to just challenging a hitter that maybe you don't think much of because he's hitting .224, has he been struggling lately? Well, that hasn't been the case with Gattis, so they'll have to make some quality pitches here.
The 1-1. Not missing by much. Two on, nobody out, bottom of the second. Now even at 2-2. Take a look at lowest opponent batting average through 12 starts of the season all time in franchise history. Third best. Only Randy twice before him, 97 and 90. With a better batting average against than Paxton's 190. Foul ball. And really, when you think about Paxton's month of May, you can make the case that he turned in two of the most dominant starting pitching performances in franchise history in the same month. Obviously the no-hitter, and then the 16 strikeout effort to begin the month against the A's. High lifts. Is it deep enough? Gamble in front of the wall, has just enough room to put it away.
And that is what is so scary of this ballpark. No problem in most ballparks. Fastball in on his hands, hits it straight up in the air. But Gaddis thought he had a chance, and he did. Ben will go back and catch it right up against the wall. Again, just 3:15 down the line here. For James, let's get back to first pitch strikes. In the first inning, 3 batters faced 3 first pitch strikes. He has not thrown a first pitch strike to any of the first 3 batters in this inning. A couple of base hits, and then that ball almost a home run.
Here's Marwin Gonzalez. Now Paxton trying to keep Marwin Gonzalez's bat on ice. He hit .202 in May, and he struck out 29 times. We have seen over the years he has been one of the most undervalued players, underappreciated players by everyone but his own team. He is simply fantastic. They appealed on the check swing. It does not go. 1-1. Batting with Correa at second and Gurriel at first. 1 out. Mariners a 4-run first inning, a 2-run second. Home runs by Seager and then Zunino. Time called. Seen that a lot so far tonight. Seager off his glove. Correa coming home around third. The carom picked up by Gamble. Lead runner scores. Gurriel into third base. Gonzalez to second.
Fastball in the inside corner, right down the line off the end of Kyle's glove. And you can see we have more issues. It was Segura that actually had to hustle back out there as Gamble. He wasn't sure if it was going to hit the corner of the wall or not. Primera Supermo, high leg kick. And he gets the barrel to the fastball. Right out the end of the glove. By that point, Gamble was already hitting towards the corner. He had to change directions, and Segura had to run out from shortstop, pick up the baseball. Don Stottlemyre making a trip out to the mound. For James, 32 pitches, 18 strikes.
Pretty early visit from Mel. Gurriel at third, Gonzalez at second.
Mariners up by 5. The infield will play back.
Number 8 hitting catcher Max Stassi. Stassi's been the backup since opening day for A.J. Hinch. Getting most of his opportunities. At 340 in May. Brian McCann, a left-handed hitter, getting tonight off with Paxton up on the mound. 0-2. Six batters. I feel like this is one of the longest stretches for Paxton this year without striking a man out. They struck out Springer to begin the ball game. No one since. That's a chance here to get Stassi.
That was a good fastball above the belt. Late swing, tied him up with it at 97. Try to elevate the fastball a little bit more if he wants, or the slider at his back foot. And he missed with the slider down out of the strike zone.
Taxiing inning for Paxton. Next pitch will be number 25 here in the second. Just the 1 out, 2 on. The 2-2.
His best fastball, 98 miles an hour. Yeah, he's having to work a little bit here.
Here comes another 2-2. Swings right through it, 97. Second punch out for Paxton tonight.
Right at the top of the strike zone. Late swing. Well, this is who we would really like to put away. George Springer waiting on deck. Marisnick struggling this year. You can see the 164 batting average. An early strike, you could probably expand the strike zone on him, get him to chase some pitches.
Now Marisnick struggling so much earlier this year, was sent down to AAA, has since been recalled. Well, mostly because of injury to Derek Fisher, however. Instead, ball 1. Two in scoring position for the Astros, 2 outs. Strike at the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike. Now ahead.
98 right on the corner.
Paxton's 1-2. He had to sweat, but 99 finishes off the second, and he strands a couple of runners. Seattle Mariners. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, but the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners. Well, the Astros get on the board a 30-pitch inning for Paxton. The Mariners still leading by 5. Good group of Mariners fans taking this one in tonight. Middle third of the order coming to the plate for the Mariners begins with Nelson Cruz.
Nelson with a base hit, his first time up. Infield hit.
One and one. Well, the Mariners undefeated so far in the early days of June. They are in the midst of a 13-3 run. They've won 15 of their last 20. Pitching has certainly stolen the show for the most point during that 20-game stretch. Until tonight. Think about it. Those 20 games where the Mariners have won 15, they have averaged fewer than 4 runs a game. 2. And we're talking about Keuchel's dominance against the Mariners, and as Jen points out, Mariners had not scored more than 5 off of Keuchel in a game. Those 15 starts he had against the Mariners entering tonight. It's already more than that in the first 2 innings.
Over 40 pitches in the first 2 innings. Really had to work hard.
Strike 3 called. Nelson Cruz not too pleased. Right there in the corner.
Now he's on a changeup, 80 miles an hour. Perfect location.
One up, one down for Kyle Seager. 3-run opposite field homer in the first.
Kyle now with 10 home runs, 36 RBIs.
We'll take a look at our Geico this date in big league history. It involves the man at the plate, Kyle Seager. This day back in 2013. Many of you might remember this one. Seager hits the first game-tying extra inning grand slam in big league history.
I believe that was against the White Sox.
It certainly was.
Home run out to right center field.
And you remember what Hawk Harrelson said? Let me quote it for you.
Yes, I believe that's what I heard.
For about 45 seconds.
Nothing.
2-1.
He missed it. Kyle with an opposite field home run in the first inning.
On the corner, goes in Kyle's favor, 3-1. Great ball count to each of the first 2 hitters of this inning, but Keuchel able to get the strikeout to Cruz. Push is full.
We have a nice crowd here tonight.
Really do. Well, they want to come and see the first place team.
There you go.
Correa with the backhand. Astros shortstop completes the throw. There's out number 2. Now, as expected, Mike, speaking of the standings, Scott Service today, when he addressed the media, very much downplayed the standings, citing the calendar more than the standings.
Sure.
Which you would expect that from Scott or any man in his position. But this is a big deal. It was a big deal for the city of Seattle, for the Northwest. For the organization, this is obviously a long way from the finish line, but to be first place at this juncture in the season, nonetheless, is exciting.
I think if you look at it as far as Scott and the coaching staff and the players in the clubhouse, they're all aware of the fact that there's a lot of baseball to be played, but you have to get started somewhere to get things turned around, and this has been a very nice start for them, and they understand that. They also know they need to continue to play. For me and you and the fans, this is great.
Sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Whoa, right there into the Gold Glove. Healy saying, seriously? Taking the hit away. We go to the bottom of the third. So reaction time is not a big deal for you, but for most pitchers, this is coming right back at you in the blink of an eye.
Pretty good fielding position right there, ready to go. Yeah, as the hitter, you're not nearly as impressed. You'd much rather have the hit.
Very close on the first pitch to Springer, ball one. 30-pitch second inning for Paxton. Soft line drive into right field. Second inning with a leadoff base hit. And Mike, you made this point back at the second, but it was ball one to Springer.
And it looks like he hits a pretty good pitch. Little cutter at 81 miles an hour. Soft base hit into right field.
You know, I say it was ball one to Springer. It was a 1-0 pitch that he hit into right field, but it's hard to really cite that as an example when it missed the strike zone by, I don't know, a millimeter.
Yes. But you go back to it, and again in the first inning, 3 batters, 3 first pitch strikes, and he cruised through it, no problem. Even though he has great stuff tonight, he's topped out at 98 miles an hour. Falling behind, especially against a club like this, can be difficult.
To center, Heredia picking up some speed to the wall. Heredia makes the catch. He leaves a dent. He hauls it in for out number 1. You just feel like any time he can get to it, he is going to make the catch.
Well, we were just talking about it in the last inning, playing defense center field here in this ballpark. Fortunately, this is straight away, but it's 409 feet. And again, for Heredia, this is his 4th game playing center field here, and he timed his leap perfectly. He knew he was close to the padded wall. You can see him leave his feet, trying to brace himself a little bit, and able to hang on to it. Great concentration.
One out for Altuve. Looks like that kind of piece is Zanino. First pitch strike. Altuve, you can say last 20 games that it kind of feels like this is him most
Normal.
20 game stretches, right? I mean, you could pick any point in the calendar, but the numbers are pretty consistent from Altuve. He is leading the league in hits. He is aiming for his 5th consecutive 200 hit season.
Hitting .328 overall.
You know what is interesting though about Altuve's numbers, and you mentioned the Crawford boxes, right-handed hitters, it's so easy to try to pull it and get into trouble. How about the home road splits for Altuve this year, Mike? On the road, he's a 400 hitter. At home, he's a 250 hitter.
Well, maybe there's something to that then. Maybe trying to pull the ball a little bit too much while he's at home.
Paxton showing the glove work off a little bit. Low throw,
chance.
cleaned up by Segura. Fielder's choice, 2 outs. Well, now through July 8th, fans ride free to and from the Mariners game on Link Light Rail. Show your ticket to the game for round-trip ride on the Link, courtesy of the Mariners. The improved stadium station, just 15 minutes from the UW station and 33 from Angle Lake. Visit mariners.com/go to find out more information. Two outs, Altuve at first base for Carlos Correa.
Altuve can get down the line with the best of them. It's been a difficult play to turn, but I think for Paxton, he catches the ball in the front part of the mound, and then as he's turning around, ends up going back down the slope the other way. Low throw into second base.
We have told this story before about James. A couple of years ago in Kansas City, a play just like that cost the Mariners the game when Paxton was not able to throw to second base. This is something he has worked tirelessly on, including reporting to Safeco Field during that All-Star break that season to work on. He's been much improved in that category.
That's a good fastball. 98. The other part about that play is it looked as if he was a little slow to get up. Kind of fell down back behind second base. Seems to be moving around okay now.
Paxton's 1-2. Soft chopper. Seager cuts it off. Short way to Gordon at second base. Well, just what Paxton needed. 30 pitches of the second, only 11 to get 3 outs in the third. Yeah. right, thank you, Angie. Boy, guys, move there by Bregman. Get down to the glove, the 360 out number one. One pitch into the fourth. Bregman, a shortstop at LSU in college, former number 2 overall pick. One out for Ben Gamble, who extended his hitting streak to 8 games with a base hit to begin the second.
You mentioned it earlier, Aaron, and that was Scott Service before the game today when we were down in the dugout talking about how Ben was going to basically split playing time now with Denard Span. But the thing that he also said that I liked about it is he said that he had called Ben into the office to explain it to him. And I think that's important for a young player to know what's going on, because you wonder sometimes, and you want to continue to get the best out of him, especially since he's been playing so well. And that's one of the things that Scott always seems to do well with the players, communicate to them and let them know where they're at and what's happening.
Well, the Mariners and Jerry Dipoto really knew that that would be maybe Scott's greatest strength when he took this job. Obviously, for Scott Service, like what, a third of the managers in the game right now, no managerial experience when he got the job, but did have many years of experience, especially with the Rangers as their director of player development. He oversaw the minor leagues for Texas, and when you are doing that, you are talking to young players all the time. That's very much a strength that he brought to the Mariners. Well, chatting things up with Paxton.
I thought the other thing that was important that he talked about is he was asked if he was worried about Ben sitting on the bench and pinch hitting as a young player, and he said no. He said the main reason why is he just doesn't try to do too much with it, get the ball in play, and we've seen that from him this year. Solid line drive, but it's caught by the left fielder.
That's for utility Marwin Gonzalez.
For Ben, and we saw it for a couple of months last year. He can get hot and really swing the bat well, and that's what we're seeing now. Another line drive, just bad luck this time.
Now there's one less window in this ballpark because of Mike Zunino. This is second at bat. A broken bat flattens out over to Bregman. That was a very quick fourth inning. 8 pitches in total for Keuchel to get 3 outs. CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. By BNSF, sponsor of the BNSF Blast. By Jack in the Box, try the new $4.99 Jack Spicy Chicken Club Combo with toasted sourdough, new from Jack in the Box. And by Money Tree, proud to make a donation to Mariners Care for every Mariners win. Sun setting here in downtown Houston. Very warm day. Mariners leading 6-1 as we open up the bottom of the fourth. They got the scoring done early against Dallas Keuchel. 3-run homer Seager in the first and 2-run blast Zunino in the second. And a first pitch strike to Yuli Gurriel. A wild hack at it. 0-2 now. Paxton 11 pitches in the third inning. 10 were strikes.
It seemed as if he just kind of lost the feel of the strike zone in the second inning. It was a quick first inning for him also. He hasn't locked in again.
Quick shot. D down to his knees. Nice throw. Out number one.
That's a Gold Glove play. He spun around. I wasn't sure he was able to hold on to it. Kind of an in-between hot ball is hit hard. Picks it. I think it ended up out of his glove. He picked it up with his bare hand. Mariners have really played some strong defense over the last month as a team.
Seems like when you talk about teams and playing defense in this game, it's really mostly only noticed when they're making a lot of errors. The Mariners have gone on this incredible run. Yep. We've talked about it. Winners of 15 of their last 20. There's a much easier play for Gamble this time. And you're right, the defense has been spectacular, and that's kind of been an under the radar topic for the Mariners. Maybe you just kind of get used to it.
Yeah, I think you can basically go around the infield, start with Kyle, and just had a fabulous month in the field. Really all year has played great defense at third. Segura, we concentrate so much on his offense, but defensively also rare to see him make a mistake. Ryan Healy really played well over at first, helping the infielders out on the low throw.
That's ball one to Gonzalez.
You see that play, the play that Heredia made last inning up against the fence in center field. It's just.
Here's Haniger. Chance for him. Haniger goes to the wall. Gonzalez making the turn. Wow, what a throw, but it's cut. That was having some smoke behind it. Gonzalez too quick around second.
It will be a triple. Mitch was playing shallow and right. Ball was lined out over his head. He was trying to get back in time. And then trying to make an adjustment last second as it gets over his glove and hits off the top of the fence. Fortunately, he wasn't hurt. And you're right, that was a strong throw. He has a terrific arm. It was just offline. That's the reason why Segura had to cut it. The way he went down right there, that's kind of awkward. Good to see him bounce right back up.
Stassi right back to Paxton. He'll run halfway there. James in good shape. Pitch count is also 7 pitches to get those 3 outs. here in game 1 of a 2-game set. Cheer on the team, then round your way to home with the Sound Transit Day Pass. Learn more at soundtransit.org. Happy to have you with us here from downtown Houston, Texas. Aaron Goldsmith, Mike Flowers, and our entire Root Sports crew as the Mariners got to Keuchel early. And Mike, we talked about how important that might be with his early struggles. He's had his struggles in the first inning, but since that second, Mike, since the home run by Zunino, he has retired the last 9 hitters in a row.
Yeah, it's something that you would expect from him. Mariners taking advantage of that first inning, especially the 3-run home run from Kyle Seager going the other way. But a 1-2-3 third, a 1-2-3 fourth, so he seems to be settling in. But we've seen it before in the past too, where he has struggled in the first or second inning, and he's been able to work his way out of it and then settle down and make it really tough on the Mariners. So it was great to see them score all those runs early.
Ties up D. Gordon. There's his 3rd strikeout. Well, hey, how about the performance, Mike, from the King, Felix Hernandez, on Sunday to cap the homestand and the sweep of Tampa Bay? The final line for Felix was spectacular. A run over 8 innings, 106 pitches. The 1 walk, Mike, 7 strikeouts.
The 1 walk is a big key for him. Only 5 hits overall. And I think for Felix, he's so important to this club that good to see him get things turned around. Pitched really well. There's been a lot of talk about the first inning. That was not an issue for him. And then he finished strong. I wasn't sure if he was going to go back out for the 7th or not. He really pitched well. And, but I like the fact that Scott sent him back out there in the 8th inning and had a chance to get through it. No problems at all.
A very vintage Felix. Segura with the lift out to left field. This one's coming in as well. 3rd home run. Watch out on the tracks. Seager in the 1st, Zunino in the 2nd, Segura in the 5th.
And I'm not sure, but I think Dallas Keuchel was a bit surprised to see him hit this ball out of the ballpark. I think it's in off the plate. And then he not only hits it off the side, keeps it fair. Most of the time you're going to pull it foul, but this is a pretty good pitch set up inside. That is in off the plate. And he just puts a perfect swing on it. Stays behind it. No problem at all. He knew it right away.
Strike 1 to Haniger as the Mariners have officially handed Dallas Keuchel his worst start of the season. Season high 7 runs allowed by Keuchel. Home run swing there from Haniger, 1-2.
What did you think about the barbecue sauce on Mitch's bat today?
I was in the vicinity and I heard you and Mitch talking, and then I just heard barbecue sauce. What? Hey, what? I need to know something. What's going on down here?
He was preparing his bat, so he was putting the pine tar on there, and I asked him if I could see it because I wanted to smell the pine tar, something that I miss. And he handed it to me. He goes, yeah. He goes, it kind of smells like barbecue sauce, and it smells kind of like barbecue sauce. It's pretty nice, actually.
Where was this when I was playing? This is the Gates barbecue sauce pine tar.
Well, it was early this afternoon. He was in the dugout just getting his bat prepared.
Outside, 2-2. Rolled over foul. Now Haniger has made quite the name for himself on the national landscape this year with his first half performance, what he's been able to put together. Obviously the tremendous month of April. Things have normalized a little bit since then, but 12 home runs, a .270 hitter, facing the team in RBIs. And a guy who we have seen wherever Scott Service needs him to hit in the order, not only does he go there, but he excels there.
Excels, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Had cleanup earlier this year when Nelson was out, and They got the news on Robbie. He moved right into hitting third. I asked him about the pine tar, and I was happy to hear him say, because I always felt this way, and the guys would put the pine tar on there if it helps him see the barrel of the bat a little bit more. He goes, yeah, it makes it seem that it's a bigger barrel so he can let the ball travel. To me, I think if you know where that barrel is at, it makes things a lot easier. And I used to feel the same way, as far as it just gives you that illusion that you have your hand on the handle, but then the rest of it is just barrel, and you feel like you're going to be able to find the baseball with it, which he has a lot this year.
You saying you're tricking yourself?
Yes, a little bit.
There's out number 2. Well, the Mariners are set to host the Red Sox for a 4-game series at Safeco Field starting June 14th. Join us for fireworks, giveaways, and a star-studded baseball series. Get your tickets for one of the marquee matchups of the summer at Mariners.com. Angels and Red Sox coming to town, one of 5 fireworks nights at Safeco Field. A terrific tradition that began back in 2013. 2 outs, a run in on Segura's blast, his 5th of the year. Here is Nelson Cruz. 0-1. Skied but playable. Marwin Gonzalez, the left fielder. There's out number 3. Well, the Mariners have hit 3 homers over the first 5 innings. They lead at 7-1. Wade LeBlanc back up on the mound for the Mariners tomorrow. He was dynamite in the month of May, a 1.72 ERA over 6 starts. He's faced the Astros twice, but in relief earlier this year. Lance McCullers, meanwhile, he is putting together the 4th best ground ball rate in the major leagues. Mariners saw him back in April. He gave up just 1 hit over 7 innings. So good pitching matchup tomorrow in Game 2, the final game of the series. Go back to the Ford Sports Desk. We bring in Bill Kruger, and Bill, we saw that really taxing 30-pitch second inning for James Paxton, but since then been very efficient. What have you made of James so far tonight?
Bill, you mentioned the slider and the curveball, and I agree. I think that it doesn't seem to be as sharp as we have seen it this year. And it almost appears as if he's able to get through this lineup with just the fastball right now. Yeah, and for the Mariners on the offensive side of things, the way that they've attacked Keuchel tonight. Yeah, I said the same. Well, I think that there's a couple of things with it, Bill, as a hitter. One, it would make it easier because you're not concerned about putting the ball in play, okay, because of his velocity at 89 miles an hour. You know he has the changeup and a cutter. With Snell, I agree with you. It was some of the most dominant stuff we've seen from an opposing pitcher. But I guess you could ask the same question, and I have been asked this, which we just talked about it. You have Paxton out there, and tomorrow you have Wade LeBlanc going. And I think for Wade, because of his experience, and you would have to say the same thing for Keuchel, that you would think that would be an advantage to them to get guys over swing, trying to do too much because they see the ball so well. But it comes down to the basics, Bill. You have to hit your spots. If you make mistakes on the inner third of the plate, especially into this ballpark to righties, you're going to pay the price. And for Keuchel, that's exactly what's happened here tonight. So I think that there are a lot of pluses to it, but as you know, the bottom line is you have to execute. It was exactly like Carr. Yeah, I think that you're right. I marvel at what he's able to do on a nightly basis. But, you know, the thing that for me is I wasn't sure how it would work out for him because typically, especially the first two guys in the lineup, Segura being one of them, Igor and the others, they're so aggressive by nature. And for somebody like Keuchel, you would think, Aaron, that would play into his hands. But, again, they were able to take advantage of some pitches and in some areas, especially pitching inside in this ballpark.
Well, Bill, as always, we appreciate the insights. We'll catch up with you more. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines. One ball and the one strike to count to Alex Bregman. It was Bregman who had that deep fly ball out to center field that was caught on the jump by Heredia crashing into the fence. Action ahead 1-2. Like you mentioned, Paxton getting by tonight with mostly his fastball. It must be awfully nice when you don't have the feel for, in this case, your curveball, maybe your slider as much, when you can just rely on 97.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to throw those pitches just to give him something to think about, but it's not the wipeout pitches Bill was talking about for him tonight. But he's just gone with his fastball.
Seager, good throw to second, on to first. In time, double play. Kyle Seager has been fantastic so far this year at third base. No surprise there.
Well, his defense has been just terrific this year, and he's one of the few third basemen. Just gets rid of the ball quickly. It's D. Gordon right in the chest. An easy play for D after that to get rid of it, although Marisnik was right on top of him. A strong throw from D to finish the double play. It's been a critical part of the defense for the Mariners this year, and we talk a lot about the starters and then having the ability to work deeper into games. A big part of that is the defense, because you're saving on their pitch count. You're getting them out of trouble, taking hits away. It's been a lot of fun to watch them.
Here is Seager leading off the sixth for the Mariners. Borderline pitch, ball one.
Kyle 1 for 2, a 3-run home run. All the way back in the first. Kyle now with 10 home runs, 36 RBIs on the year.
We talk from time to time about his success hitting the home run ball against lefties. Now, over the last few seasons, no left-handed hitter has taken lefties deep more often than Seager, and that home run for Kyle, his third career blast against the southpaw Dallas Keuchel. Slicing, low line drive, Correa. A Bregman, beg your pardon.
Hit it hard. Left side of the infield was wide open except for Bregman, and unfortunately for Kyle, he squares it up. Solid line drive, and he hits it right at him. A slicing line drive, a step, able to make the catch. Got some bad luck for Kyle on that.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you're going as a hitter at that particular time, but what are you feeling more when you walk to the dugout? Are you feeling more the frustration of you hit it to the only guy on the left side, or more the, hey, I squared that up, and more times than not that's going to be a base hit, that's just bad luck this time around?
Yeah, at first you're upset that you're not getting the base hit, but by the time you get into the dugout and you've replayed the at bat in your head and you realize that you hit a line drive and you did everything right, it was just poor luck, then you feel better about your situation. But hitters always want the hit.
Sure, of course. One out for Ryan Healy.
And you see Kyle going down the tunnel. He's probably going to go take a look at it right now. And it's disappointing not to get the hit, but he'll feel good about the swing that he put on that baseball because it was right on the barrel.
One and two.
Speaking of bad luck, Ryan Healy hit the ball about as hard as you possibly could. His last time up, it ended up right in the glove of Dallas Keuchel, the pitcher.
Soft tapper over to Gurriel. This is good out number 2. Join T-Mobile in showing your appreciation for all military and vets by sharing a photo or video using hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each tweet or post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans. 2 up, 2 down here in the Mariners' 6th. That brings up Guillermo Heredia, who is twice grounded out. Keuchel has really settled down since those first 2 innings. They give up the solo home run in the 5th to Segura. Try to check, goes around. It's 1 and 2.
He's now at 91 pitches, as high as 106, which is his last outing against the Yankees. Nobody getting loose in the pen.
Slicing out to left center. Marisnik is able to make the catch. And a couple of center fielders covering all kinds of ground tonight. Side retired in order. app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive Mariners content, and much more. You can download the MLB Ballpark app today. Altuve, Correa, and Gurriel due up to face Paxton in the bottom of the 6th. 7-1 Mariners. On the first pitch, Altuve into left. Gamble gets to it in front of the track. Altuve's first hit. Leadoff man reaching for the Astros. Tomorrow it is the final game of this 2-game series. Our coverage begins at 4:30. Wade LeBlanc making his 7th start of the season, going up against Lance McCullers Jr. LeBlanc, Mike, I'll be curious to see what he does against this right-handed hitting lineup for the Astros. Righty's hitting .233 against LeBlanc this year. We have seen each time he goes out there, he has had, seems like, tremendous success over the course of May.
I think that when you think of Wade, you think of his changeup, but really his cut fastball and his curveball have been very good pitches for him. I think you'll see the same thing. He will work both sides of the plate, use his cutter in, keep the right-handers from leaning out over the plate looking for his changeup or his curveball. At times he'll elevate his fastball at the top of the zone. It's just tough because he's really mixed it up, and his command has been excellent.
0-2 on Carlos Correa.
And on the other side, it'll be interesting watching the Mariners, who are a very good fastball hitting team, and McCullers has a good fastball, but you're going to see a lot of breaking balls tomorrow.
Apparently, from what we heard talking to some people on the Astros side of things today, the curveball for McCullers has not been nearly as sharp in recent starts. 3 pitches to get Carlos Correa. Speaking of curveballs.
82 miles an hour down out of the strike zone. Swings over the top of it, well located ahead in the count. Doesn't want to throw that pitch for a strike.
One out, one on. Here is Gurriel, who extended his hitting streak to 11 games, tying a career best. Strike 1. Seager, a low backhand, down to second, on to first. 6 pitches, 3 outs. It's the second double play, turn behind Paxton. The first, Kyle Seager.
Well, I thought it was the most important. Dallas Keuchel was in trouble in the first inning. Kyle walking to the plate. showing some opposite field power. Hitting the ball out to left field, a 3-run home run. So the Mariners able to score 4 of their runs in the first to set things up nicely for James Paxton.
8-9-1 due up for the Mariners. It begins with Ben Gamble.
Ben with a base hit and scored a run. He also lined out to the left fielder. He's hit the ball hard a couple of times this evening.
I happened to bump into Ben inside the clubhouse on the homestand, Mike, and I relate to him the humor that we found when he was announced in the Coliseum as Ben Gamel, which is our favorite alter ego for Ben. Good stop there by Gurriel for round number 1. And Gamble really took no personal offense to it whatsoever. He said, you know, I've been hearing Gamel my entire life. And he went on to say, I don't understand what's so hard. It's like camel, but with a G. And when he said that, he was 100% serious, which of course it is. But I mean, he's gone over it with people before, I guess is the point.
Well, a little bit frustrated right now, not picking up another hit in his last 2 at-bats after hitting the ball hard. But
so Tim Heavley, Kelly Monroe, Ryan Huter.
There you go.
Pronunciation guide for next year. One out, nobody on for Zunino. Now, I assume that these are hurricane windows here at Minute Maid Park, and the structural integrity was tested. A little further up.
Mike's 9th home run of the year, and it was crushed.
Inside, 2-1. Brad Peacock beginning to warm up inside the Astros bullpen. 99 pitches now for Keuchel. You mentioned the high water mark for Keuchel earlier. He's not a guy historically that we've seen extended much past 100.
Well, he's typically so efficient with his pitch count that he can get into the 7th, 8th inning because of all the ground ball outs and the double plays that are turned behind him. So not surprised to hear that.
Here's the 3-2. Zunino on to first base. The home plate umpire started walking over.
It was ball 4. He thought it was a strike. He thought it was at the bottom of the strike zone. Carlos Torres disagreed. It was ball 4, so Mike went to first base.
Well, we hope you can stick around after the game for Mariners post game presented by Alaska Airlines. A chance to hear from Scott Paxton as well. So Zunino with a home run and a walk in this one. Strike 1 to D. Gordon. It was D who got it all started back in the first inning. Leadoff hitter, an infield single. And that same play able to advance to second on an error by Altuve. Now ahead 2-1.
think this will be his last hitter. Segura, right-handed hitter, waiting on deck.
Inch your foot up on the steps already. They appeal. There he goes. Scott Perry, our third base umpire. Full count.
It's off the plate away from him. Tries to check his swing. He thought he did. We'll have to try it again.
Gurriel charges. Gallops over to first base. 2 outs as Zunino gets into second. Here comes AJ Hinch. Well, the Mariners tagged Dallas Keuchel for his roughest start, and now Gordon having some words. Not happy with that called strike on the check swing. We've got a pitching change. In the top of the 7th, and they have chased Dallas Keuchel out of this game. Keuchel, who's had such a strong run of success against the Mariners, not tonight.
Well, the Mariners, after a day off, they came out swinging today. 7 hits, 7 runs, all of them earned. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, 107 pitches for Keuchel.
Into the bullpen, AJ Hinch goes. He calls on Brad Peacock, at one point a starter, now a reliever.
He's pitched well out of the bullpen, a 2.78 ERA, 31 strikeouts in 22 2/3. Opponents hitting just 207. Fastball at 93 miles an hour and a slider. Starts him with the breaking ball.
Look inside the Astros bullpen. You can make a strong case. Peacock and McHugh would be in a rotation for many other teams. Pitching in relief, though, with the Astros and their stacked rotation. Skims out to Jose Altuve. Makes easy work of it. The Mariners strand Zunino, who walked with an out. It's time to stretch. Mariners all over the Astros. Yeah, Jay, I like Taylor's style there. That's very nicely done. Now Paxton at 81 pitches. Working here in the bottom of the seventh, facing Gaddis. Strike one.
James, we were talking about him struggling to get ahead of hitters in the second inning, but overall in the game it's been terrific. 24 batters, 17 first pitch strikes. And you mentioned his pitch count on a number of innings. He's gotten 3 innings where he's thrown 1 ball or fewer.
It's amazing.
So outside of some struggles in the second, they have terrific fastball command tonight.
See, Mike, that is what makes the immaculate inning so impressive. And we had one tonight in baseball. Max Scherzer.
Really? And you're just now talking about it? That's amazing.
I wanted some people to lose some over-unders. Very close, 2-1. Foul ball to even it up. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Typical for James, even though he's working here in the 7th inning, his fastball velocity is still the same. 97, 98 miles an hour.
Those 98 past Gaddis. Punch out number 5.
The start of the game, I was talking about James, and had 3 games in a row, just challenges him, as Aaron mentioned, 98 miles an hour by him, where he had thrown over 100 pitches. In his last outing, he threw 89, just went 5 innings, 89 pitches. Aaron's had yesterday off, even though right now he's at 86 pitches for the game. He has another quick inning, he could run him back out there again, or maybe he needs to get the bullpen some work, or maybe he wants to give the bullpen 2 full days off. We'll see what Scott ends up doing, but James still, he looks strong, and he could probably throw 115 if he needed to. Just a matter of what Scott wants to do with his bullpen after having yesterday off.
And his center over D. Gordon.
Right off the end of the bat.
1 out and Gonzalez aboard. This season, for every Mariners hit, Fred Hutch will receive a donation from Mariners Care. Hits for Hutch is our way of supporting the life-saving research taking place at Seattle's own Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. Gonzalez.
Pretty good night.
Home run shy of the cycle. 1 out, 1 on. Here's Max Stassi. Mike, those are good questions about Scott and what he wants to do in terms of the future tonight, an 8th inning if possible for Paxton. No off day after the game on Sunday. Come back home, big homestand. Angels and Red Sox, not a day of rest there like there was yesterday. That has to factor into it a little bit.
It definitely will. I think you'll have to consider all of those things.
I figure against those teams, the Red Sox in particular, tied for the most runs scored in the majors so far this year. And that might be a series where the bullpen might work a little bit more, as most would. D, a step on second, an easy throw to first, and that is 3 consecutive innings with a double play turn behind Paxton to end the frame. Full day, well before the usual routine of the afternoon. The roof was open, and who's that throwing BP, Mike?
Well, of course, it's Ichiro throwing batting practice. Now, it's something I think that Scott had mentioned to him about a week or two ago. And the guys are out hitting early today. This isn't their regular batting practice. This is early batting practice that he's throwing, but throwing strikes. Well, they appreciate the help.
One batting glove look. Very nice. Now, Ichiro got the heads up that this could be coming down the pike. And so, in recent games on the homestand, when he was back inside the clubhouse and thereabouts, he threw 200 pitches a game to practice and get loose, as Jim reports. Haniger leading off the 8th inning. Now, I ran into one of, let's be honest, not one of the Japanese reporters, one of Ichiro's reporters up in the press box, and I asked him, is this a big deal? And he said, are you kidding me? He said, this is a huge deal. Of course, anything that Ichiro does is a huge deal back in Japan.
Well, you and I can talk about that. Remember spring training? And the cameras just to see his car drive into the parking lot?
That was for my minivan, Mike. Let's be honest. That's what that was. Check out the car seats. 1-2 to Haniger. At least I thought that's what it was all for.
Well, you were mistaken. I thought it was interesting. One of the reporters asked Scott to grade him. So on a professional scale, which would be 20 to 80, and Scott gave him a 55.
Strikeout to Haniger. I thought that was a pretty tough grade. Of course,
I thought it was pretty good for his first time
really?
out. Yeah.
All right. Scott wanted some room for improvement.
He wanted, yeah, throw the ball a little bit harder, work a little bit faster. A couple of things he talked about. All that is easily accomplished, I'm sure. Not a problem.
Now, this does bring up an interesting baseball conversation, because when fans come out to the ballpark and they watch BP, I'm sure it all looks exactly the same to them, right? The BP pitcher, that is.
Oh,
but,
yes.
But obviously, as a hitter, there are some guys who like a certain style of BP thrown to them, whether it be firmer or whatnot. What was your idea?
I just wanted somebody, yeah, that would be firm. Throw the ball down the middle of the plate and let me work on whatever it is I was working on, whether I wanted to hit the ball the other day or the other way, or if I wanted to pull the ball a little bit more, or a combination of those things. And it sounds like an easy thing, but it's at times can be challenging, because the one thing you don't want is for somebody to throw the baseball all over the place when you're trying to work on something.
Now, to your point, however, we've heard Scott talk about during early work, like we saw Ichiro today, sometimes Scott will throw BP and he will want to throw it in specific areas to see how guys react to whatever that pitch might be, right? Low and outside or what have you.
Well, that right there is different. If you're in batting practice and you're working on something specific, then I think I would like it the way I explained it to you. If I'm just in there hitting just to fine-tune things, just to hit, then that's fine. Because obviously the pitchers are going to move the ball around on you, so that's perfectly fine. But if I'm having an issue and I'm trying to work on something.
It's a screamer.
Oh, just missed a home run.
Right off the top of the wall. Gonzalez throwing enough of a seed in to get Nelson Cruz to a very long single.
Well, Nelson Cruz has really been hot lately, swinging the bat extremely well. And this is a solid line drive, puts a dent in the top of the wall. It gets out there so quickly, ends up being a single.
So Nelson has one single that went about 60 feet 6 inches, and he has another single that went about 315 feet. 1 out, 1 on for Seager. Strike 1. If you could have chosen any player to throw you BP if you were in a home run derby, well, or player or coach, I should say, anyone in particular,
I think you immediately have to look at if it's a position player now, it would have to be the catcher, and a former player would also be a catcher. Catchers throw the best batting practice.
well,
It is straight, and it is right down the middle.
Didn't Dave Valley throw
A couple different times in the All-Star game, Dave went and threw batting practice? Yes.
to like everybody?
Yeah. Getcher's throwing really good batting practice.
Any rhyme or reason to that?
I think it's because it's straight and it's accurate. Think about what they work on all the time, and that is trying to hit that base out at second. And then they want to get rid of it quickly, and they want it to be on a line and true, so it's an easy play for the guys to handle. So I think for them it's not a problem.
Seager down on strikes. Second punch out this inning for Peacock. Take a look at our American League West standings as the Mariners come into town in first place, leading the Astros by a game. And, you know, Mike, this is something that shouldn't be overlooked with this run by the Mariners. Not only have they taken over the Astros, but they've created a 5-game cushion.
Separated themselves from
ahead of the Angels.
Yes.
Yeah. And that is huge. We'll be seeing the Angels on the next homestand. Weak tapper, Peacock, nope, gives way. Stassi is able to get to it and throw to first in time. Miscommunication almost got the Mariners a break, but instead, speaking of break, we go to the bottom of the 8th. Lead the Astros 7-1. We open up the bottom of the 8th. We'll take a look at what's coming up tomorrow. We are on the air at 4:30. Wade LeBlanc, a 1.72 earned run average over 6 starts in the month of May, going up against Lance McCullers, who spun 7 phenomenal innings against the Mariners back at Safeco Field. Only 1 hit in April in his other start against Seattle. Should be a good one tomorrow night. Swinging strike 1 to Marisnik. Now, throwing strikes has helped the pitch count for James Paxton, and double plays have helped Paxton as well. For the last 3 innings, ending on a double play.
He's been single digits 3 times tonight. In the 4th, it was 8 pitches, then 6 pitches in the 6th, and 9 in the 7th. Nobody getting loose in the pen. That starts to answer some of the questions.
The only hiccup tonight for Paxton, the 30-pitch second. Now, the Astros just finished the gauntlet that the Mariners will be going on, or an approximation of that. Astros over a 19-game stretch saw the Angels, the Indians, the Yankees, the Red Sox. Went 11-8, averaged 5 runs a game during that stretch.
Last fastball 98 miles an hour.
changeup? It's an 83-mile-an-hour curve. Another foul ball.
Maybe he was working on the changeup. 21 foul balls in the game for James Paxton today, which looking here in the 8th inning doesn't seem to be too bad for him. It can be an issue at times, all the foul balls.
Up and in. Like the at bat from Marisnik to begin the 8th.
We're about 99 miles an hour.
I'll wake you up.
James has a changeup. He rarely uses it.
Next pitch will be number 10. Paxton earned that strikeout. 98. Don't like it is dollar dog night.
And you can buy them 2 at a time, Aaron.
I think it's 4, Mike.
4.
You know, the
right.
Astros have a lot of good things going for them. After all, they're only a game outside of first place. And yet, Dollar Dog Night made the front page of the Astros game notes. This is a tradition unlike any other at Minute Maid Park. Presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. Fans can purchase an unlimited number of Nolan Ryan Beef hot dogs at $1 each while supplies last. Limit 4 per person. Already having an easy time with this one. Much quicker at number 2.
Looks like Juan Nicasio starting to get loose out of the pen. Playing catch out there.
Two up, 2 down. Here is Bregman. Ruled ball 1. Segura can't get to it. Bregman's first hit comes with 2 outs in the 8th.
Well, after not getting the call on the breaking ball, comes right back with a fastball in the inner half of the plate. They'll bring up Altuve.
Altuve 1 for 3 tonight. A wave and a miss for strike 1.
Couple of off-speed pitches. As I mentioned, Juan Nicasio getting loose.
Paxton's 0-2. Line drive up the middle. Back-to-back singles with 2 outs. Bregman advancing into second base.
Looks like Scott's going to make a trip out to the mound. Paxton now at 108 pitches on a fastball in the middle of the plate, 98 miles an hour.
And he's made the call. Well, nevertheless, Paxton, another brilliant chapter in his history against the Astros, a team he has dominated. Paxton pitching into the 8th inning, and we saw a very nice combination of punch-outs and double plays tonight.
Dominating fastball tonight at 97, 98 miles an hour, locating it, using the top of the strike zone. Breaking ball a little bit, but primarily it was the fastball. May as well have some pretty good defense behind him, too. Double play always helps out the pitcher, and that happened quite a bit here this evening. Kyle Seager starting a couple of double plays. And here's the third one behind James. D. Gordon will take it himself. For James, again, primarily with his fastball, 7 2/3, 9 hits, 1 run. It was earned. He's responsible for the 2 base runners, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 108 pitches, 76 strikes, 30 batters faced, 20 first pitch strikes.
Our Beacon Plumbing call to the pen. It is Juan Nicasio on to work with 2 on and 2 out of the bottom of the 8th.
Juan has really pitched well as of late. 28 appearances overall this year. And 28 to 30 has 37 strikeouts, just 2 walks, opponents hitting .273. His fastball lately has been 94 to 97 miles an hour with a slider.
Facing Carlos Correa. Now the first pitch to Seager. Pretty easy play for the Gold Glover, and that ends the 8th inning. 1 pitch getting the final out. We go to the 9th. Mariners by 6. No, Angie, I think it's good to straighten these things out. Joe Smith is up on the mound now working for the Astros, swinging strike 1 to Heredia.
A veteran right-hander. Average fastball 88 miles an hour and a slider. Guillermo has played well in the outfield this evening, looking for his first hit. 0 for 3. For Joe Smith, 21 appearances, high ERA at 5.5. 18 innings of work. Opponents hitting .219. He's given up 3 home runs.
Signed in a 2-year deal, now 34 years old. He's fouled at the plate. Still nothing, and 2 on Heredia leading off the 9th. In on the hands. 1 out. Paxton 7 2/3. And this him after finding his way back inside the dugout. Plenty of high fives for James, who just continues to throw up zeros against this Astros lineup. Ball 1 to Gamble. Going over things with Mel. You look at his last 5 starts dating back to last year against the Astros. He's given up 5 runs. It's a team that won the World Series last year.
And he hasn't locked in. It's something that we talked about, especially back in April when mechanically he was struggling a little bit trying to find it. But typically once he is able to lock that in, he can run with it for a stretch of games, a long stretch of games, and we saw that last year. He was just so dominant. And if he comes out and you're seeing 94, 95 in the first inning, you should feel pretty good about where he's at. And again tonight, I thought the majority of it was just a good fastball for him. He was able to get a lot of hitters out with the fastball.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gamble.
I mean, when he has it all working, Aaron, you never know. He might strike out 16 guys with throwing no hitter. Yeah.
In the same month. A wave at it for out number 2. We take a look at the Mariners calendar. Well, the Mariners a 4-game series in Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg against the Rays. Then it's back home, 3 against the Angels, and then a big 4-game series wrapping around the weekend against the Boston Red Sox. Day off for the guys on Monday the 18th, and then Yankees and Red Sox again before the schedule lightens up. 4 games against the Orioles and then Kansas City to end the month. Strike 1 to Zunino. Soft flare, floating foul. Gurriel handles it for round number 3. Side set down in order. We take a look at the due-ups in the bottom of the 9th. The Mariners leading by 6. Astros down to their final 3 outs. Of the ninth inning here in Houston, Chase and Bradford taking over on the mound for the Mariners.
Chasing with a mid-90s, mid to low 90s fastball and a slider. 19 appearances, 4-0 record. ERA just under 2. Has really pitched well. 20 strikeouts and 22 2/3. Opponents hitting .235. Again, fastball in the low 90s with a slider.
Well, the Mariners last year were 3-7 here in Houston. They were 5-14 overall a season ago against the Astros. This is the second series this season between these two ball clubs. The Astros took 3 out of 4 against the Mariners back at Safeco Field. But this ballpark has not been kind to the Mariners in recent seasons. And tonight, the Mariners getting Dallas Keuchel for 7 earned runs, the most he's allowed in a game this year. And James Paxton working into the 8th, allowing just the 1.
I think just as important, able to get 6 of those 7 runs in the first 2 innings. James a lot of breathing room.
On the first pitch, high the opposite way. Haniger curls over to find it for round number 1. I think the graphic guys in the truck, I think they're having withdrawals from not pushing the buttons for 1-run games, for extra innings. I mean, these have become staples in the telecast over the last month or so.
Wonder how relaxed Scott Service is right now.
He's just got his feet up someplace.
Thinking of that, all the 1-run games and extra innings. A 6-run lead in the 9th.
With 2 outs to go. In steps Evan Gattis. Just missing for ball 1. And as we just recently looked at the Mariners calendar, the Mariners catching a break in St. Petersburg. There's been a DL stint. Chris Archer on the DL today because of an abdominal issue. So he will not face the Mariners as he was scheduled to do. Smoked foul, 2-1. On the air tomorrow at 4:30, LeBlanc versus McCullers. And then off to the Trop. I think I know what the answer to this will be, Mike, but is there ever a time as a player where, because your team was rolling so well, like the Mariners are right now, that you did not want an off day? You wanted just to keep playing? You didn't want to lose that? Because you look at what the Mariners have been doing, you can make the case, boy, don't stop playing now. Obviously, it's not an issue.
Well, the other side of it is also they've had a couple of off days and it hasn't seemed to bother them at all. So they'd probably take the day every now and then.
Right on number 2. I mean, I would think that
I always felt that way if I was swinging it well. I just wanted to see live pitching every single day. You don't want to lose the feel for that. So
can that really go in a day, or not go but be diminished?
I think yeah, at this level everything is so fine that I think that at times it can.
Depends on the guy, no doubt.
And the other thing, there's nothing that's more fun than getting 2 or 3 hits and you just want to show up the next day and do it again, right?
Just ask Segura.
Yeah, exactly. He knows.
2 up, 2 down. Here is Marwin Gonzalez. The final hope tonight for the Astros. My guess would have been that any guy would want the day off over anything else because of just how beat up you get.
Right.
Tends to be normal for a day.
And sometimes you just need that to keep that good run that you're on going because you need to get healthy. Or just have a mental break.
Right. Gonzalez, batting with 2 outs in the ninth, is a home run shy of the cycle. Two and one. Years ago, maybe 2013, Brandon Barnes, an outfielder at the time for the rebuilding Astros, hit for the cycle against the Mariners here. Same year Mike Trout hit for the cycle against the Mariners. You can accept that one a little bit more. Instead, two Opera out to Healy. What a dominating performance by the Mariners, and with authority, they take game one 7-1 in Houston.
Kyle Seager, some good defense tonight, but more importantly, a 3-run home run for Kyle in the first inning. His 10th home run, now 36 RBIs on the year, getting the Mariners off to a fast start. And James Paxton, didn't quite finished the 8th inning, but again, just dominating performance. Fastball 97, 98 miles an hour. Great way to start this trip.
Hey, we thought this would be fun tonight.
We did.
We were right. Mariners win it 7-1. Mariners postgame presented by Alaska Airlines starts right now. Bill, Angie, guys, all yours.